I normally do this every weekend, but your boy was out of the country for a couple of weeks in November, so here we are making up for lost time, the best new metal albums of November. This feels good to say again. Welcome, metalheads. I'm the host of Heavy Metal Philosophy and writer for Metal Digest, Jon Barbas. Make sure you stick around to the end of the episode for this week's riff of the week. Now let's do the top 10 best new metal albums of November. Coming in at number 10, and this is a weird one, but it's not the only weird one on the list. Y'all know me, but for this one, it's The Browning with Omni. This is electronic deathcore out of Missouri, and they call themselves ravecore. And once you listen to it, you'll understand why, because it's not the normal sort of deathcore that has a few electronic elements in it. No, you will definitely feel like you're in that scene from Blade where all the blood showers down. You'll feel like that. You'll want to move as well as headbang. There's a lot going on here. The electronics are front and center, and it's got roars. Coming in at number 9, Calm. Grave impressions of an unbroken art. This is epic, sludgy doom metal out of Los Angeles, California. And this album is only 4 songs, but that's because the shortest song on the record is just barely under 10 minutes. A lot of times, I wouldn't let a band get away with that, but there's zero bloat on any of these long and sprawling epics. It goes in movements like classical music, and it's tender at times and heavy at times and groovy at times, and the guitar work is just stellar, so make sure you check out Calm. Coming in at number 8, Disparaged, Down the Heavens, melodic death metal out of Switzerland, and it leans way more into the death than it does into the mellow death. This isn't that sort of mellow death that has clean singing in the choruses so that it's catchy and then they scream a little bit in the verse so that they still sound heavy. No, it's heavy all the time. It's the guitar work that makes this melodic, and that guitar work is excellent, and it's high energy. They're not trying to make pretty death metal, they just happen to have some melody, and I dig it. You will too. Check it out. Coming in at number 7, Yatheria with Burning Inferno. This is melodic black metal out of Greece. Y'all know I love me some Greek black metal, and I especially like this one because this isn't that shrieky sort of black metal. This is black metal with riffs. No tremolo picking here, or rather very little. There's melody and rhythm here, and the rhythm is driving, moving you forward. It sounds adventurous and triumphant and grand. There's all kinds of different atmospheres and vibes going on with the melodies here. You have to hear this to believe it. Make sure you go get Yatheria. Coming in at number 6, Tribulation with Sub Rosa in Aeternum, blackened goth metal out of Sweden. And I gotta tell y'all, I'm a newcomer to goth music. I used to not like it so much when I was a kid. I thought it sounded same. I thought it was a little bit campy. And then I heard a band called Unto Others, which changed my mind about goth, and I've recently gotten more into it. And I think this band, Tribulation, might be my favorite of them all because it has black metal in it. There's harsh vocals in here sometimes. It's truly dark. It's not Scooby-Doo sort of spooky. It's actually dark, but it still has the cool and the sexiness of goth, and it's real catchy. So make sure you check this one out. Coming in at number 5, Defeated Sanity with Chronicles of Lunacy. This is an international band. Some of them are from Germany, some of them are from the United States, but as a whole, they might make the perfect technical, brutal death metal band because they're highly technical, and all of you technique nerds out there will absolutely be blown away, but those elements don't take over the sound. They are all used in service of the heaviness. It's crushing all the time. but they have subtle nuances that separate them from other technical, brutal death metal bands, when a lot of the other tech death bands would be seeing how fast they could play the drums as an arms race of just who can play the fastest blasts. Instead, Lila might hit you with a jazz groove that leads into a bass fill. But they're not showing off. That's just who they are. Coming in at number 4, Thy Catafalque, coming out of Romania with their 12th album, which I'm going to call 12 because I cannot pronounce the rest of it. But if you're curious how it's supposed to sound, here's a clip of Thomas on the podcast telling me how it's actually supposed to be pronounced. I'm excited about your new record. Now, I'm sorry, I'm very bad at pronunciation. It's 12, right. And then can you help me with the pronunciation?
Okay, it's a gyönyörű álmok ezután jönnek.
Yeah, I would never. I'm from the southern part of the United States, and we don't even pronounce our own words correctly down here.
Yeah, but don't worry about that, because that's why it's entitled 12. 12 because, I knew that it was impossible for anyone to pronounce it outside of Hungary. So I just wanted to make it easier.
And in case I butchered any of the previous bands, as always, every band's Bandcamp link will be in the description so that these albums are easy for you to find. Now, I had fooled Thy Catafalque's last record high up in my best progressive metal albums of 2023, and I imagine this one will be as well. It is a counterpart to last year's record, where Fooled was bleak and dark and heavy. This album is bright and playful and adventurous, but it still brings the heavy. It's just Thomas showing a different aspect of Romanian culture, which, speaking of, there's a lot of Romanian folk on this record with, and I can't count how many instruments are on this. There's the oud on here, plus there's all sorts of fun electronics. There is so many different sounds on this record. You have to hear it all to believe it. Make sure you check out Thy Catafalque. All right, here we are at the top 3, and I call this the trilogy of progressive extreme metal from November. And I had a hard time picking which one would be number 1 out of these 3, so we're going to call them 1A, 1B, and 1C, because these top 3 are just that good. You might pick one over the other, where somebody else might pick the other over the other, but they're all masterpieces in their own way. But we have to do it in some kind of order. So let's start with Bedsore, with Dreaming the Strife for Love. This is progressive extreme metal out of Italy. Now, how do I describe this? It sounds to me like a space opera, but it's about a tragic love story, but it's told in a film noir style. Just the 70s prog mellotron putting you out there in space, but then the black metal making it dark, and then the saxophone making it kind of groovy and noir. She's got so many things going on, it's hard to describe. It kind of reminds me of last year's Heavy Metal Philosophy album of the year, Horrendous Ontological Mysterium. It's got sort of a similar vibe, except for Horrendous is a death metal band, and these guys, when they are doing metal, sounds more black metal, but it's mostly prog. It's all insanity. Make sure you check out Bedsore. Coming in at number 2, or should I say 1B, we've got Muir with their self-titled debut record. This band from Iceland is also hard to describe. Imagine that sometimes they sound like Devin Townsend, and sometimes they sound like Opeth, and sometimes they sound like Meshuggah, and then there's some stuff that's just only them. This is exciting at times, magical at times, cinematic at times, heavy, so heavy, and then beautiful, mysterious. It's just a perfect prog album. What can I say? And what's really impressive is it's a debut album. A lot of bands will spend their whole careers trying to make a record like this, and this is the first thing they gave us. I would really like to know the individual members of this band's backstory, because they have to have been experienced musicians prior to this project. For sure, this is a mature and expertly crafted record, and it's a debut. Amazing. Make sure you check out Mueller. Coming in at number 1, Opeth, The Last Will and Testament. You know, my favorite band out of Sweden. And y'all know me. Y'all know I was going to pick this record. But let me tell you this little anecdote, and maybe you won't think it's just me being a fanboy. Or maybe you'll think we're all fanboys. Let me tell you the anecdote, and then you tell me in the comments. So, in the years that I've been working for Metal Digest, I can only recall one other time when we do our monthly column where the staff picks their album of the month. I can only recall one other time where 2 different members of the staff picked the same record. We all cover different areas, so we all have different biases and things that we like. So most every month, the best albums of the month column, everybody picks something different. One other time I can remember where somebody picked the same record, and it was me and Scott. We both picked Blood Incantation. However, this month, 4 staff members picked Opeth, The Last Will and Testament. That's 4 out of, I think there's 11 people on staff, maybe 12, something like that. We're all international. I'm extreme metal, Scott's extreme metal, but then we've got Sam who does more of the prog stuff, and Adam who does more of the like power metal stuff, and Shelf is more into, black metal. Everybody's got a different thing, but 4 of us picked Opeth, The Last Will and Testament. We loved this record. I mean, it's Opeth. And Michael's growling again, and it's a concept record telling this creepy ghost story where there's family intrigue over the last will and testament of this patriarch who has just died and what's going to happen with all of his money. And then secrets of the family are revealed as the album unfolds. Just, I mean, it's a musical journey. It's Opeth. Of course, it's number 1. But I just want to say one other thing to you before we close, and then we'll do the riff of the week. So it is now December. That means it's album of the year time, my favorite time of the year. I can't wait to see what all you guys pick for your album of the year. I'm going to be slowly rolling out episodes doing the album of the year. And this Friday, December the 6th, will be the Nick Nocturnal Metal Awards. So, I just put out an episode where I voted for who I think should win in each category and why. So if you want to check that out and you're on YouTube, just click right here. If you're listening audio only, no worries, links in the description. But as the riff of the week plays, just remember, read philosophy, listen to metal. I love you.